are live. It is Tuesday night, 6:30-ish. Filming live from Align Mortgage of Texas. Of course, we are here in our wonderful little studio, getting ready to talk about all things San Antonio politics, national politics, issues of the day, things you need to be aware of that are happening at City Hall. We're just blessed to be here. We thought, now last week, Salo and I were talking about trying to move the podcast a little bit to get ahead of things. So what we were doing in the past was we went to Thursday night and we thought, man, we'll do this on Thursday evening. It'll be a little more relaxed. We'll go into the weekend. We'll take it a little easier, trying to consolidate some work. But all the good stuff at City Hall, okay, let me be clear. Don't need to use the word good stuff. But all the things happening at City Hall happen on Wednesdays and Thursdays when our city council meets. So we were oftentimes talking about issues at City Hall after they were already voted on or after they happened. So that put us in a bad spot. We couldn't get ahead of things, to have these conversations. So you were prepared to at least, number one, find out what in the world is happening at City Hall, get a chance to put in a public comment, a vote, or an idea, let your council member know what they think. And then we also thought, man, we also need to make sure that no matter what, good information is getting out there, right? So you can at least form an opinion, whichever way you go. And that's what we try to do here on the broadcast. Whichever direction you go, it doesn't make a difference. Just simply understand the issues and the things that are happening. So when it comes to Wednesday, Thursday, you interact with your council member, you reach out, you say, I got a problem with this. I don't like taxes here. My dog has a problem. Whatever your issue is, right? Animal care services, solid waste, you name it. That you know what's happening, where your votes are going, where your tax dollars are being spent. So now we're going to try to get ahead of it by coming out on Tuesday night and talking about the things that are on deck for the week. So you can be prepared to see what in the world is going to happen over the next few days. And we'll get better as it goes along. Tuesday night's an interesting night. The number one thing we need you to do, though, is like it, share it, and let people know that the broadcast, writers, share your video, your thoughts in the comments. Of course, we've got Tyler checking comments so we can answer any random questions that may pop up. But we want to know, will you please share the video and let people know it's Tuesday night now. Get informed. We got an election coming up in November. We got city elections coming up next May. We have a lot happening and we have to all put it together and we have to work together with information and knowledge so that you can make an informed vote and a decision and, hey man, be a part of your community. So share your video, share your thoughts, put it in the comments tonight, and let's get rocking and rolling. As always, we start the broadcast with a few thanks to our sponsors. We always start with Aligned Mortgage of Texas at 5590 Summit Parkway. Three owners, Cody Carrasquillo, Tony Diaz, and Chris Cano, who put us in this wonderful position to broadcast from their facility here every Tuesday night now at 6:30. They are the number one VA lender in the state of Texas, soon to be the nation. They are going national with a sole purpose, right, to serve veterans, to make sure you as a veteran, like I'm a veteran, to make sure you as a veteran get to own a piece of the land, right? The piece of this country, right? A piece of earth, a piece of dirt, that you get to build your home on a piece of this land that you helped deserve. That is the sole purpose and function of what the business mission is at Align Mortgage of Texas. You look right there at the bottom, talks about faith, family, coworkers, and community. Those are some pillars that they operate on. But overall, overarching, it's the service of our veteran community. That was his business was founded on, and we're fortunate to be able to film out of here. All we ask is that you give them a good look. If you're in the business for a mortgage loan, whether you're a veteran or not, reach out. These men and women will help you with questions and answers just to talk about what it means to get and earn a mortgage loan using your VA. Now, this Saturday, you can sign up. There it is. Look at that graphic over there playing right now. Sign up now for a free seminar. This Saturday, the 12th, you can sign up at alignedseminars.com. It's a national seminar where they walk through the truth about the VA home loan benefit. This I'll tell you, I'm a veteran myself. I didn't know 1/10 of what my VA home loan benefit meant, what I did to earn it, how it worked and operated, how I qualified for loan, the whole thing. Now, you can go talk to lenders all across the country, and they'll say this is what the VA loan is. But each lender does it in a specific, particular way. It's based on them as a company. But the benefit itself, what you have earned, how it works for you, how you can purchase your home with no money down, how you can get into owning a piece of this country, is all this Saturday. Signed up at alignedseminars.com. Just log on, spend about an hour and a half watching it, listen to the team talking about ways you can use your VA home loan benefit. If you know, by the way, any veteran across the entire country, shoot it out there, push it out there. and let it happen, right? So let's share it with your families and friends. Let them know what's going on. It doesn't matter who it is. Anybody can sign up, sure. But what we want is, right, we want veterans to log on and use that VA home loan benefit and figure it out here. Lime Mortgage of Texas. Thank you, Chris and team, for letting us use the facility. We want to also thank our illustrious friend at AAA Garcia Bell Bonds. We love you, Louis Garcia. There he is right there, AAA Garcia Bell Bonds, family-owned Bell Bonds business. We appreciate you, Louis, always supporting us at the BrockCast. If you can't miss him, he's actually about, I don't know, he's about 6 foot 280 with a huge beard, driving a smart mini car. It's the most ridiculous thing. Yeah. He's driving like an eco-smart car. You can take Louis Garcia's car and put it in the back of my Tundra. Like you can put it in the truck bed. That's how ridiculous the bearded bail bondsman is when he hops in his car and drives around to help you and save you. But more importantly, he's a family-owned business. We love you. He supports us all the time. He sponsors us and takes care of our food during the week and makes sure we have resources to put the show on. Thank you, Louis. As always, we appreciate you. Brian Pena and Torado Realty Group. Brian is what's he got? We got that wonderful photo of Brian looking like look at that suave guy right there. First Responders Buying Program. Brian Pena, check him out, the Remax Realty, Torado Realty Group. This guy is going to help first responders, help anybody understand what it means to the purchasing process when it comes to trying to get yourself a home. And it is a complex process. I've done home loans with people who did not use realtors, and it's not the easiest process in the world to get through. A realtor protects your interests and makes sure you as a buyer are fully protected and understanding every dollar and penny that goes into your transaction so that you get the best possible deal when you purchase. Brian Pena and the Torado Realty Group. We love you, Brian. Thank you for always supporting us. Look, reach out, give him a call. There's one other new sponsor. Oh, we got a comment?
Yeah, Brad said, here.
Brad.
Oh, Brad's got a
Brad, we got some comments going. All right, we got a comment. Brad Kessler, this show is so well put together, you should have a radio show on 938. You know what? I agree with you. Yeah, let me hold on a second. Let me agree with that satisfaction right there. That's perfect. Brad, my name is Brad Kessler, and I approve of this message. So now, new sponsor, Brad Kessler. No, just kidding. Brad's running for city council over in Converse. Give the man a good look. Brad Kessler, running for, if you live in Converse, Brad Kessler. Brad, it's good to hear from you, brother. Thank you for commenting. There's a new sponsor I put on there. I don't know if you can see the image. I put new sponsor on there. This one kind of came in the last minute, but Ray Rodriguez, one of our longtime followers and a good friend for years when I was on the city council. Susan Bielicki, bring her up right here. She's just going to start. We're going to start talking about Susan too. She's a realtor here in San Antonio with eXp Realty. Can you get that graphic up? Yes, it's all right. It's coming. It's coming. There's Susan. So Ray reached out and wants to make sure everybody knows as well that his daughter here is with eXp Realty, Susan Bielicki. So we're going to get more involved on her understanding. We're going to bring her into the office is what we need to do. We need to bring her in during one of the shows and let her talk to us about what it means to be a realtor as well. But Susan is with eXp Realty. She's a specialist in military PCS, permanent change of stations. So she's helped many she's a military spouse herself, and she is more than happy to sit down and talk about anything with the home buying process. We're thankful for Susan and, of course, Ray Rodriguez, who is a longtime friend. We love Ray Rodriguez and the crew from the old Highway 90 team, Michael Corman, Zihino, you name it over there. We've got a bunch of friends up and down Old Highway 90 that are always taking care of us. Javier and his family as well. But reach out. Susan Bielicki, there's her number right there, eXp Realty. Let's figure out how you can get a home, right? You got the place you can get the loan. You got Susan and Brian that'll help you out, figure out the purchasing process. And don't forget, it's okay to shop, man. Put it out there. We want our friends and sponsors to always get the best resources available that we can offer them. We're thankful. And of course, Tyler Hall with Speedy Salt. Throw that graphic up there real quick for Tyler. Tyler's here tonight, and he's always helping out. Tyler, the man is a genius when it comes to, well, salt. He can figure out exactly when you need salt before you know you need it yourself. Tyler is delivering massive pounds of, what is it, 50-pound bag of salt, Tyler? 40. Come on, man. Go with the flow, bro. I'm giving you more credit there. Tyler's going to take care of your Speed Salt. He is a man of faith. Water softener? Automate your water softener with Tyler. He's running the comments tonight and helping us out with the camera. Tyler is a man of faith. He's always there helping us out. If you want to help a faith-based small business in our community, Speedy Salt's it. Tyler Hall, we love you as always. We appreciate you. And of course, Salo and I, you know, when it all started in a dank little corner of an office space off Culebra, it was Salo and I and an iPhone 3, I think it was, when we started our podcast. And I got to throw out that I love Salo. So I just got to put that out there because Salo is a brother from another mother. That's absolutely no joke. We love Salo and everything he does for us is for us and able to put this on. Now, we've got a little contest going tonight. Check out my merch. All right, here it is. I've got these BrockCast branded bill hats. Now, don't get all excited, people. All right, check this out. This is a legit cap right here. You know what? It's got to go the opposite way when you're showing things on the... There it is. All right, so check out branded bills, custom BrockCast hats. We've got a couple of them here. Actually got more, but we're going to go ahead and if you like the podcast tonight, I'm trying to figure that out there, and you there it is. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And you share it, right? Click a share. I'll put you in a contest. You're going to grab a bunch of these little hats right there. I don't know why it's not showing it, but this is it. Look at that little leather emblem right there. This is legit, man. This is legit. There it is right there. BrockCast. Look at that. Look at that. This is leather. Branded Bills. Go look them up online. They're a heck of a hat company. Branded Bills is killing it. This is the BrockCast. Look at this little leather patch right here. Spare no expense, man. When we eat before, we eat the good wings. And now we're doing good hats, Branded Bills. Like it, share it, and put your comments in there as well. And we'll take care of you. We'll get you a hat, and you can enjoy walking around. And half the city's going to say, BrockCast, I don't like that guy. The other half of the city's going to go, man, I like that guy. This is politics, right? Half like you, half may run you over in the parking lot if they don't agree with your belief system. But that is politics nowadays. So we've got two different colors. I think we probably should have. We got a blue one. We should have got a red one so that we're fair to both political parties here. But we got a gray one as well. If you don't exactly know where you stand on any particular issue, we're going to get a red hat too. Sala, let's not forget that. A little keep BrockCast great again type hat. We'll get it happening for the BrockCast. Like it, share it, get in the contest, and we'll draw your name out and put it out there. So, look. Tuesday night, and we're here about issues and all things San Antonio. One of the things you have to remember as you're getting into understanding what in the world is happening in the city is that there are elections coming and the issues are huge. And these votes that happen at City Hall, the votes happen and oftentimes with very little fanfare or knowledge. They're at hours of the day when most people are working. They can't access it. Nobody wants to watch a city council meeting and for fear of falling asleep in the middle of it because it's really that boring. But all of these issues and ideas are happening at committee meetings and council meetings throughout the week. And on Thursdays, they have the big show session when they go down there and they actually vote on things like defunding the police, like the 2021 annual budgets, like figuring out what we're going to do with use of force issues, like the use of your monies for the Phil Hardberger Bridge, the Alamo, the Cenotaph. All these items are getting voted on at City Hall. And as they're getting voted on, the weeks before that is when you as a citizen have the opportunity to interject. Whether you're a citizen by yourself living at home, whether you're part of a neighborhood association, whether you're maybe serving on a committee or board, whatever you are in the city, you have an opportunity in the days leading up to a vote to affect the change in a policy. And this I can tell you having been a member of the city council. It doesn't take a lot of outreach to spark a council member's, at least to get them thinking, what in the heck is going on with this issue? So when I was sitting there, if I received 20, 30, 40 calls on something, I started to recognize, okay, this is becoming an issue. And think about that. I mean, seriously, think about it. 20 phone calls may spark this light the switch for a city council member that this is potentially an issue that they need to pay attention to from the community perspective. Because I always say, and I've said it from the beginning, what happens at City Hall doesn't reflect what's happening in the neighborhoods. Because what's happening in the neighborhoods doesn't get back to City Hall, right? The voice isn't coming back to the council member so that the council member can quantify opposition or support for a particular issue. The key to winning at City Hall, and I just believe this because I've done it whether I ran an anti-streetcar campaign or I ran for public office, whatever it was, any issue-based thing, is to quantify where the community is on a particular issue. If you don't quantify it so that the council member knows, they're going to ignore you. Because chances are they're not going to go out and ask you, right, what you believe about an issue. They're not going to go knock on your door and say, hey, Salo, man, what do you feel about these? They're not going to go to your house. No, they're going to expect you because that's how city government is built right now. That's how San Antonio City Hall is built. You have to go to City Hall to give them your input. We don't have politicians that go to you to figure that out. But let's be honest. Ask yourself this question. When is the last time you saw a city council member visit your home? Now, I'm going to let you think about that for 10 seconds. Yeah, probably the last election cycle. That was it. When it was time to run for re-election, chances are they showed up. But they're not going to you. The whole system is built for you to get to them, and they're sitting there waiting for all of your information to make the decision. And if they don't give the information, they're not going out, they're not looking to search for it. They're not sending the team out to find out how the community feels about defunding police, because if they did, they wouldn't be doing it. That's how ridiculous City Hall is. It is a bubble of misinformation. And I say misinformation or the wrong information because they do not know how or what the community feels or believes about a particular piece. Each council member represents about 155,000 residents. One council member, 155,000 residents. That is a ton of people for one person and a team of 5 to 7 to represent. Chances are, if you're not going to them, they don't know. They won't know what you feel. So the whole system, again, is built for you to engage. You have to go the extra mile to either stand up for what you believe in, oppose, support, whatever. So you have to get that good about it, folks. You can no longer in our community sit back and say, yeah, man, let it happen. It'll be what it'll be. They'll do what's right. All right, or they'll use my money for that. No, you don't know that. You don't know that. In fact, I think intuitively you already know that you cannot trust City Hall. I think you already know that. I think the majority of citizens believe I can't trust City Hall with another tax dollar in San Antonio. Think about that for a second. Can you trust City Hall with another tax dollar in our community? Are they going to make the right decision with your money? But the problem is you have a life, you're working, you got the kids, you're going back to school, COVID-19, you got a pandemic, you've got all this drama going on all around you, and the chances in time for you to engage City Hall are next to zero. Like you just don't want to do it. Like after a long day of work, the last thing you want to do is log on and figure out what the heck's happening with the city council. Like you got better things to do with your life and you got a whole life going on. But City Hall is affecting you each and every minute of every day. So you have to jump in there and figure out what's happening. And that's the purpose of things like this. You don't have, look, you may watch 15, 20 minutes of the podcast, but you can share it and watch it afterwards and recognize, okay, this is what's coming this week. And that's why we're going to Tuesdays and we're going to try to figure out how can we affect the change, right, in our community, the change being an engagement of people. That, unfortunately, in San Antonio is a real change. The engagement of citizens. When you voted about a 13% and then 17% clip in major elections, maybe 30%, who knows, right? Who knows what it's going to be in 2020 here in November. It'll be higher than normal, but for the most part, San Antonio votes at about a 12 to 13% clip when it comes to elections. That is absolutely terrible. So the change, sadly enough, is getting more people out there to engage. Because what has happened over the years is, as you have not engaged, as you have not reached out and tried to tell council members what you think, they've gone down there and run amok and have created a system that does not represent the whole of San Antonio. That's the problem. So for us, it means how can we get good information out there, ideas, and at least reach out and make the system easy enough so that the engagement is forced upon City Hall. And if you believe this, because I believe it, you shine a light on stuff like that, you know what happens. When you shine a light in a dark room, Salo, what goes on? What happens? You notice stuff. You begin to recognize that things, right? Things are occurring and you don't know. And when you start to know, you get pissed off and change happens. So that's what we're going to try to do. I caught Salo then with a question out loud. He wasn't expecting that one. How are we doing on the comments, Tyler? I will be election judge in Bexar County. Hernando, you got an election judge there. What else we got there? Thank you for the sponsors. You got that right. Robbie Chavez, the show does look good. Man, I can't see those comments on that side over there, Salo. I got that bright light like I'm being interrogated right now. What the? He's got a bright light right in front of me. What do we got there? Is the left guilty of voter suppression or voter intimidation? Great advice. Here we go. Hernando again. They're moving.
I want to wear that cap at the next BLM march in downtown.
Do you want to win this? Who said that? Pete Elias. Pete Elias or Elias?
Yeah.
Clayton Perry is the only decent band of counsel. All right, hold on. Let's see here. Oh, my comments are up. That hat's...
I trust my pet rattlesnake more than city council.
I trust my pet rattlesnake more than... Who said that?
That's Tina.
BrockCast blast City Hall on issues. You are correct. She doesn't answer. Rebecca's a left-wing Marxist. Whoa, Paul Gomez just threw... Paul Gomez went there with that. I recall Ron and Roberto. True story, Greg BrockCast. And there's GG, like GZ Garza. All right, here we go. What else we got? Am I missing anything out there? Does anyone know if there are going to be any 9/11 ceremonies? Brad, the city does normally do 9/11 ceremonies. However, COVID-19, a lot of these are paused. Clayton Perry's the only decent council member from Pete. Great advice. Must be talking about Friday at the Alamo flag wave. Pete Elias.
Do a peaceful protest.
Pete Elias, we've got to get Pete a hat no matter what. Pete, I'm putting that down right now so you can wear your hat to the next march. Pete Elias is getting a hat regardless.
Should we do a peaceful protest against Bin Laden?
A peaceful protest. Oh, man, we got people liking and sharing. Here we go. All right. Okay, now, COVID-19. Let's get into a quick update so we kind of know where we're at. The mayor and Judge Nelson Wolff, again, we're on their TV show tonight that has dwindling support only because people are getting really tired of figuring out what's happening. So we were joking about this one, will COVID-19 end on November 4th? And we make that, it's a bit sarcastic, but I want you to think about this because is this, once it gets over, let's say after the election's over in November 3rd, right? I'm willing to bet that if the Democrats win, miraculously, COVID-19 will be a thing of the past. And because this has become so highly politicized, and they're basically using this as a tool against the president. Wherever you fall on it politically, whether you support the president or not, it's irrelevant. This has become a massive political football, and it will end. And my prediction is, of course, it will end on November 4th. But what do you think about that? I think, Salo, what's your thoughts, man? You're the one that's mentioned this many times before.
The pandemic?
The plandemic. The plandemic. Pete's already thanking me for a hat. Yeah, Pete, but you got to wear that to a march, bro. You can't just be sitting at home with it.
And send a picture.
Yeah, you got to send a picture of you at a march prior to possibly getting attacked. So let us know, right? Well, again, like and share. We'll put a hat in your hand there. If you like, share. We'll do a contest. We got about 5 or 8 of them or so. We can reach out and put that out there. But COVID-19, let's get to the updates. Aside from the fact that we'll end on November 4th, I do believe that because depending on which political party wins, right, the plandemic will be over. So let's go to item number 1 here. Let's just go through the quick updates on where the city is at with its COVID-19 update in case you missed watching Ron and Nelson go back and forth and bore you to death. There's, of course, our case and trend lines right there, the daily case numbers, 14-day period. You can see a decreasing trend line. Over the last couple of days in reports, there was a slight increase. So that gives you an idea from just a basic visual perspective of where things are for the last 65 days, as well as for a trend line. So you can see we are in a decreasing environment. A lot of this has to do with our citizens, of course. Massive amounts of testing occurring. Thank God, finally, we're in that piece. There's talk of vaccine. People are starting to get back out again. Herd immunity, plasma usage, all these things. People wearing their masks. I do think, as we have said from time to time, that businesses need to reopen at a much faster pace. And this is proof positive that a lot of things, right, have been going very well for San Antonio. Contrary to what you see, one of the biggest complaints I've had is that I think the city hall has been pretty much numb to the fact that, yes, we're in a pandemic issue. And you can see these numbers and statistics. When you look at the whole, right, the Bexar County as a whole, 2.3 million people. Pull up another slide, Sal. I think there's another slide up in there. Oh, you're going to the same one. That's okay. You're good. 2.3 million people in the county, 47,000 confirmed cases, daily change of 193, and 979 deaths. And you can see that by race and ethnicity down there as well, Hispanic and Latino. Black or African American is 6%, other 2%, and white at 18%. And the age group has dropped over the course of the pandemic. And the map up in the upper right-hand corner will show you the hot spots. The darker the color, the more concentration of cases that have appeared, and of course, source of exposure down there, close contact at 60%. But 2.3 million people, 47,000 cases. A lot of people tell you we're turning the corner on it, and as a country as a whole, there are other hotspots starting to pop up. But there is talk of a vaccine and these other things that may be occurring here at the end of the year or early next year. I think I had one more image that shows the threat level.
Oh yeah, give me a second.
You're good, sir. You're good. We've got a threat level rating. This comes for us from a risk level, from a safe moderate all the way up to critical. And of course, we are now into a safe level period. Open back up the city. That's what we have to do. Should have been opened a long time ago. We've talked about this. It's a tough decision. We don't have all the data and stuff us as regular citizens. This I can tell you that I do believe small businesses have suffered long enough. People are hurting out there. Jobs matter. The way back now isn't talking about masks and all this other stuff. We do have to continue our social distancing and the practices that have brought us success. No one is saying not to do that anymore. But at the end of the day, you got to start about rebuilding San Antonio, rebuilding this community now. You can't rebuild it a year from now. You can't build it 6 months from now. It has to happen now. And that rebuilding is going to occur and start with our small businesses and the job creators in our city. The job creators need to open back up again. We saw today that Luby's is shutting down. Luby's, the San Antonio icon, is out of business. And you can go right down the line of small business owners and restaurants, hotels, our tourism industry that is suffering tremendously because of the length of the shutdown, right? Now, we can debate all day long, and we will. There'll be time for that as we write the obituary on COVID-19, if there ever is going to be one. When we write what this story looked like over the last 6 to 9 months, people always say, hey, man, has San Antonio been successful or have they failed at a COVID-19 response? And the truth is, we won't know for a long period of time when we break out exactly what has occurred and the steps that were taken. Like even the CDC has come out and said masks were not the deterrent folks thought they were. And then you turn around and you see other types of community leaders and scientists saying, hey, mask up. Social distancing should have worked. Our school's supposed to reopen. We're not going to have a lot of these answers until probably 6 months, a year to 2 or 3 years down the road when we do the post-mortem on it. We look at it and we say, this was the response. Now, what steps do we put in place to make sure that doesn't happen again in the future? Vaccines are on the horizon. It's going to be real interesting, though, to see who wants to get vaccinated. Like, that's good. Oh, I'll get vaccinated, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'd do it. You?
No.
Salo will not take the vaccine. Tyler? Tyler? Okay. 2 out of 3.
Somebody said that the vaccine's dangerous here.
Oh, let's go to the comments.
Who said? Go to the comments on that one right there.
Hernando. There's a remedy. Vaccine are dangerous.
I want a BrockCast shot glass. Hotels are at 75% vacancies. Hernando's exactly right. There's Brad again. Hey, Greg, since you're a veteran, how do you feel about Space Force coming to San Antonio? Right on. I was in the Air Force Space Command. Yes, I was. So I do believe the Space Force needs to come to San Antonio. Somebody told me, though, that they're not going to use Air Force rank, right, for Space Force. They're going to use Navy rank. I'll get into that one in another day, though. That's not for tonight. Does this include false positives? No, I don't believe it does, Michelle. There is a remedy for CCP viruses called HCQ. Vaccine are dangerous. Vaccines are dangerous. So Hernando's out there. Hey, you're talking about hydroxychloroquine.
I just want to see what the facts are first. You know?
Yeah, we can see the facts in the episode. Would you take the vaccine? Man, look at Salo on the spot. Would you take the vaccine? Let's do it. Just start jamming up the comment line. Jam up the comment line. I'm curious. This sparked a side.
They always tell us, and people want to hear people.
So I would take it.
You would.
If it was I would take the vaccine. Not just from some dude walking down the street. I mean,
not from my Tia Carmen.
Not from your Tia Carmen. I want to take the vaccine. Yeah, if it's FDA approved.
Even.
If it's FDA approved, I'll do it. So would you take the vaccine?
And if it's effective. It's got to be effective.
Okay, but the flu vaccine itself is effective, what, 30, 40, 50% of the time, 20% of the time?
Yeah.
Do you take it? You don't take it under any circumstances.
I've never taken the flu vaccine. Is the flu gone?
I've taken the flu vaccine every year.
Is it gone?
No, it's not gone.
It's not gone? Okay.
But it's to vaccinate you, not to eradicate.
Exactly.
So you wouldn't take it under any circumstance.
Well, I'm fully vaccinated. It's just
Fully vaccinated.
He's fully vaccinated. Let's look. Oh
I
man,
got all this stuff from when I was
dude, I think I'm on the minority here. Oh, Michelle, she says absolutely. Salo just drink gin and tonic water with Queenie.
That's all.
Ray, that gets you a hat, buddy, right there. If it was cleared and hey, Mateo right here. If it was cleared and passed by the FDA, obviously not getting a shot from Frankie down on Salsa this. Jacked it. Mateo, man, that is a fantastic answer, brother. Yes, I'll take the vaccine. Hey, look, Gabriel. Hey, man. Okay, I've got some backup here. I would take the vaccine. I would take it. Not something to develop in 6 months. Ooh, Robbie's like calling me out. He's calling that one. I'll take it right there.
I'll be forced to. Pete said that.
No vaccine.
Who said that?
There's a lot of no's.
No, Lisa Chisholm, no. I won't take it to the proof.
Wow.
Look what George said.
Oh, man. But Ron and Nelson still want us in our homes still. Where are we at? I just drink sauce water. See what I mean, man?
Look at what Carrie said.
I haven't had a flu vaccine in 18 years. Have you had the flu?
Yeah, I've never had the flu and I've never taken the vaccine.
You shouldn't have said that, dude.
No.
Now you shouldn't have said that. That's because now you're going to get wife's choice. Richie Alemont said it's his wife's choice. Hey, Richie, when your wife shows up with a needle, bro, you better. You better pray it's not that and, testosterone or something. I don't know.
What are we asking?
Would you take the vaccine? Would you take the flu vaccine? Carl's there. I will eventually, but I won't be part of that first batch of folks. You don't want to be, Carl.
Yeah,
Carl, you don't want to be one of the guinea pigs, bro? You don't want to give it a wife's choice. Oh my God. Nope, no, thank you, brother. Microchip implants with the China vaccine. Oh my God. Hey, don't say that. Ron Nuremberg will come after you if you say that China vaccine. Man, there's a lot of no's on here. Look, I'm going to take it. I think it's, I don't know. I trust it. But fair enough. Seem to be outnumbered on that issue, but that's okay. That's quite all right. So, another question.
They told us millions were going to die, and they were correct. These experts said.
Yeah, but the vaccine, look, I take a flu vaccine even if it's 20, 30%. I'll roll the dice on that. No side effects that I know of. It is what it is. So, will you take the vaccine? Old Milwaukee beer will kill the coronavirus. When you shine the light, the roaches run. Linda Goslin is absolutely right. All right, well, keep an eye out on it. We'll see. It will matter. The decision point is coming if you're going to take the vaccine. The decision point will happen next 6 to 9 months. So, and Michelle says she'll pray for me.
Look, we got one. Look at Rick Carter.
Please listen to Robert Kennedy's discussion on why vaccines became so dangerous, starting with deregulation, toxic additives like formaldehyde. It makes the big pharma very profitable. No vaccine me. All right, Rick, I'm going to take that one down there, man. I'll look that up. All right. Woo! Okay, so that's the COVID-19 update. Look, turn the corner. We got to talk about business reopening. We got to talk about rebuilding San Antonio now. Does that involve what the mayor and the city council are going to try to do with workforce education and kicking transportation down the road, eliminating the aquifer money? I don't know. We're going to have that debate many more times here in the future. But for right now, San Antonio needs to focus on job creation. That is going to be the answer. You come out of this by creating opportunities for people to get back to work. Because eventually the additional unemployment dollars, all that support system and the wraparound services we've seen for the last 6 months is going to disappear. We cannot fund in perpetuity unemployment like that to the extent we are right now. So it's going to be incumbent on us as leaders and people in the community and the city to create jobs, right? Now, the goal is to close the wage gap. One of the things I've said for years as well as an elected official, we have to be very concerned about there is a true income inequality in our city, where the jobs are, the people that get them, and those wages. And some of that comes from training as well. But we do need job creators, right? Small businesses, places like Papa's Burgers, we talk about them all the time. Los Barrios family of restaurants, all the way up to the Hiltons and the Hyatts. All these businesses need to come back and rebuild. A ton of us, I'm sure, would love to go back to the movie theater. You got Santikos. You got all these folks that have been sidelined over the last several months. We have to find a way to get people back to work. People back to work creates this engine of our economy that people start spending in all aspects. And we have to figure out not just to get the job back, but how does the job look from an income earning perspective, and where are we putting these jobs? We've created this kind of city we live in right now, and it's an investment strategy of the city over the last 10 or 15 years. COVID has exposed that, and I'll give you a good example. The decade of downtown, right? So we created an investment portfolio strategy where all of our job creation, all of our dollars were going into downtown San Antonio. And in the process, we created the most economically segregated city in the nation. And guess who ran the city and who ran those programs? People like Julian Castro, right? Folks like that, Henry Cisneros, all these people who want to put, right, all their money investment into the downtown core. Well, that's great. You could put billions into the downtown core all day long and rebuild Broadway, and it could be the most fantastic looking pearl-like city in the nation. And then you've got people who don't eat 2 or 3 days a week. You got kids who can't get to school. People don't have cars, transportation, and jobs, and they can't feed people. And by the way, those jobs also don't have paid sick leave and other benefits, right? So it's beyond just thinking about, okay, we got to create the job. The wage has to be enough that the family can survive. Now, I don't believe that should come from the city government mandating it, but I sure do believe that we can take incentives and create that environment so that jobs can be created now, right? Jobs with decent benefits so we can come out of this pandemic. Now, we can do workforce education, and in a year from now, we can train 25,000 people to be truck drivers or nurses, whatever. Sure. And in a year, they'll have some jobs. But I'm telling you, everybody across the city has been affected by COVID-19. So job losses, it hit every single one of us in some way or another. You know somebody's lost a job. If you haven't lost it yourself, your income is less than it was before. Whatever your piece is, Everybody needs help right now. For us to get back in, it's through the business community, job creation, and those opportunities to get people working again. If we get them working again, and sometimes that includes transportation now. When I look at what's happening at City Hall with Ron Nirenberg and those folks, because of COVID-19, they've kicked transportation down the road 4 years. We'll talk about that in a minute, and that's simply not going to work. We need to move people now. We do need to educate them in a particular way when it comes, but that goes through the business community and job training, right? We want the experts doing the training and the job creation. City Hall does not create one stinking job. They don't. Ron Nirenberg and the other 10 council members down there, this is how many jobs they create. 0. They create none. It's all on the backs of the small business owner who create about 75 to 80% of the jobs in our community, or the big businesses that wrap up, the other 20%, right? So we've got about, we've got ton. I don't know. We were filing at 100,000 different people at one time or another on unemployment. It's just crazy, right? So we've sacrificed the economy, right? And that was the decision at the time. We won't know if that's the right decision until a year or so from now, but we sacrificed the economy, right? We drove that in the tank to prevent COVID-19. Now we got to drive it back up into existence at warp speed, folks, and get people back to work. And we'll talk about that in a second. But that's the COVID-19 update. Another question for you. We were talking about this one. I wanted to hit this because of a story that popped in on over the weekend about a soldier having her vehicle sold while she was on deployment in Afghanistan. And it opened up a question for me. 2 questions. Number one, we're going to talk a little bit about this impound, this towing system in the pound here in Bexar County, down at where they call it a place called Groudon Pound. And I'll talk about that in a second. So we've got this issue with the military member losing their vehicle. Several military members had their vehicles sold by the city of San Antonio, and the feds had to come in and tell the city they were out of line, breaking federal law, right? So they broke federal law, sold a service member's vehicle out from underneath them, and the city's having to pay restitution to a lot of folks. So I saw the story out there. There it is, right there. So feds to the city of San Antonio sold 227 vehicles at an auction belonging to military members. Investigation reveals city towed, auctioned while the Air Force Staff Sergeant, was deployed to Afghanistan. And that happened on September 4th. So the Groudon Pound, so we have subcontractors that do the towing in different zones across the city. And if you've ever had your car towed, it can get towed if you're illegally parked, if you leave it somewhere for too long a period of time, in the commission of a crime, who knows? Vehicles will get towed and taken to the pound. Oftentimes that pound is on the south side of San Antonio at a place called Groudon Pound. And that Groudon Pound is managed by a private vendor, right, that the city has used for years. They use private wrecker companies, right? So the city contracts out with wrecker companies to do the towing. The vehicles are taken to a place managed by an organization called UR Vehicle Management Services, right? This company has been in existence with San Antonio for several years now, and I'm going to show you why that matters. But they sold 227 vehicles at auction. I think there's another slide. So that's September 4th of 2020. And back in July 21st of 2017, vehicles were sold improperly from the city impound lot as well. So News 4 was investigating this years ago. That's back when I was on the San Antonio City Council, just got elected. And we had this problem as well with vehicles being sold illegally, improperly at City Hall. Now, the pound itself, the impound lot and the towing services fall under the San Antonio Police Department. That's where they're managed. But these are third-party vendors that are not following the rules. But it is on City Hall. Make no mistake about it. This is 3 years later. 3 years later, we're still seeing the same problems out of Groudon Pound and people's cars. Now, you can trace where UR Vehicle Management Services, how they landed at San Antonio. And it's ties to the former city manager, Cheryl Scully, and how these organizations are brought into San Antonio and contracts are awarded. There is corruption involved. And we're going to all have to dig a little deeper on this one. So there's some information that we've received here at the BrockCast. We're going to start looking into what this means and the trail on how UR Vehicle Management Services found its way to San Antonio. So that contract that was awarded to them, there's no accountability. It's clear as day. There's no accountability at the city impound lot when this has been going on for 3 years. They cannot get it right. But this time, they stepped in it and they sold several military member vehicles while they were deployed in defense of our country. That, my friends, is egregious. I don't care what the reason was. If you have a military member, the Servicemen's and Sailors Relief Act I think that's what it stands for. I'm going to go back and double check that here in a second. The federal law dictates that you cannot do that. You cannot, in this particular case, to be specific to this, you cannot sell a service member's car like this while they're on deployment or on active duty like that. So go back to the other one right there, the 227. So this made me think, and it was just a question, and because we've talked about this one before on the BrockCast, we've had this conversation. Do you believe that San Antonio is Military City, USA? That's a fair question to ask, right? Do you believe San Antonio is Military City, USA?
Sailors Civil Relief Act.
You got it, Tyler?
Sailors Civil Relief
The Sailor Civil Relief Act. I was going to get it.
1940.
1940? All right, man.
I
All right.
was in 2003.
But anytime a veteran, right, or an active duty military member, something's going on in our city, this is a fair question to ask. Because here's my argument. I believe in the city of San Antonio, I think I got a graphic on that one, Salo. Let's see, number 5. We got number 5. Is San Antonio Military City, USA? 5, 6, and 7. Bring them up.
5. Oh, this one? No,
Should be the city council members all hanging out. Look at that happy bunch of people. You got Cheryl Scully right there. You got Nelson Wolf, Ron Nuremberg, Rebecca Villagrán, Military City, USA. John Courage right there. Look at the smiling photo op, right? Do you believe that they live up to their standard as Military City, USA? When I see things like active duty, deployed military soldiers, airmen, when I see their vehicles getting towed like that in violation of federal law, it makes you beg the question, is this Military City, USA? I would tell you, too, there's a couple of people that have served our military on the city council right now. One is John Courage, the other is Clayton Perry. Both of those members, and Jada Sullivan as well. Jada Andrews Sullivan served our country. I believe she was in the Army. So you've got 3 council members who've worn a uniform. But there is a law. So do you think San Antonio is Military City, USA? I would tell you no. And I think it's just so there's a lot that goes around this term leadership by slogan. So you can run around all day long and you can trademark. And by the way, the city of San Antonio trademarked Military City, USA. They got a patent on it or a trademark on it. So nobody can use that without their express written approval. So me even saying it, I could get a cease and desist letter because I may use it in my advertising, or that the fact that this is Military City, USA. So the city of San Antonio owns that. I think that's absolutely ridiculous, but they trademarked the name and they did it, and they got signs up all over the city. But is this sign enough to say that San Antonio is Military City, USA? What makes a city Military City, USA? Because there are great cities out there that are doing good things. San Diego, you can go on the East Coast. You've got all kinds of locations. You've got places around our military academies, around West Point, around the Air Force Academy. You can go, many cities in our country can lay stake and put a claim down on Military City, USA. So what is San Antonio City Hall doing about it? When's the last time you really heard about them pushing military or veteran issues in our community? Now, we have a military liaison at City Hall that works with the bases, that runs the military affairs department, so to speak, at City Hall, and they do work. So the city will partner with Joint Base San Antonio and other groups and organizations to help with different types of infrastructure assistance and things like that. Of course they do. But outside of those items, what are we doing from helping our veterans? Take a look at, and I'll give you a great example. Lackland Air Force Base is the gateway of the United States Air Force, right? There are 1,000 graduates, 750 to 1,000 graduates go through that military base. Every week they graduate from Lackland Air Force Base. 750 on average. That's families, that's people coming in from across the country. Go drive down Highway 90 around Southwest Military in that area over there. Go over off of Valley High and 410 in District 4 and watch what that looks. Just take a look at the environment around our military bases. That tells you a lot about a city's investment into its military service. Now, I had about 18 months on the city council. I worked with the former councilman in District 4 to try to get a master plan together for that. So that's something we need to be thinking about. But you can look around these bases and tell me what it looks like outside the gates of Randolph, what it looks like outside the gate there at Military and Highway 90 for Lackland Air Force Base. These facilities, right, if we don't invest in the infrastructure and development around these places, these men and women come into our community and they lay stake and claim to our cities. And they live here. They serve our country. They bring their families on their permanent change of station. They live here, and our bases look, outside of these bases, they just don't look up to standards, up to par. There's not the investment we need to see. So there's things like military spouse employment. Are you seeing veterans in home ownership, right? We talk about that when we're at Line Mortgage of Texas, a VA lender. What are we doing to partner with every veteran organization to make sure every veteran can buy a home in our city? When they're in our city, we want them owning a piece of San Antonio. When they retire, they come back to San Antonio. What are we doing for workforce education for the spouses of our military members, right? 97% of military spouses are women. What are we doing from their educational perspective to make sure they can land jobs? They have about an 18 to 19% unemployment rate. So what does it mean to be Military City, USA? Let's see if we've got some comments around here. Those areas around our bases are run down. The conservative warrior's absolutely right. Kelly area is depressed. Ronaldo hit the nail on that. Fort Sam, Houston. We do have a military affairs committee at the city. And Clayton Perry's on that committee as well, has been for years, and he is working hard. Actions speak louder than words. No, they're not Military City, USA. They just proved it. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Gabriel, anytime our veterans are not considered, we should be up in arms. This shouldn't happen. Gabriel's absolutely right. See, so we can agree on issues all day long and stuff like this. Our veterans, the city council cares more about BLM than veterans. Pete, you're going to get yourself another hat. Just kidding. Pete gets 2 hats. Absolutely right. The issues... And I don't know what it is. And I served with other people on that council. Some of them are still, obviously most of them are still there. Aside from Clayton Perry and John Courage, you just don't see a ton of outreach to our military. And it could go through so much. I mean, that's not just parades and hanging out and going to the special events and bringing the generals down to City Hall so that we can parade around and talk about us being Military City, USA. It has to be teeth behind it. When I see things like that, when an airman's, a staff sergeant's cars are towed and military members lose their vehicles, that is absolutely unacceptable. So we all have to call on City Hall to say, number one, eliminate that vendor. That vendor has had enough chances to do the right thing. It's been 3 straight years of vehicle mismanagement, proven as far back as 2017. So you need to eliminate whatever towing crews are working these things, and you need to hold accountable the URVMS, Vehicle Management Services. You need to run them out of town. They don't deserve to have the contracts if this is the way they're managing and treating our veterans. Not to even say anything, period, about the corruption that is involved in the whole process, period, for just the regular citizen non-veteran. Get your car towed and try to go get it out of City Hall. Good luck with that. You're going to be out several $100s at whatever pound you go to, you end up at, especially Groton Pound, and chances are you're going to have to wait a few days to get your vehicle back. But for this airman, she tried to get it back and she couldn't even get her equipment out of the car. That is unacceptable. Are we Military City, USA? My argument would be no. We have to have a special focus on it. People say, man, well, what do we, we've got tons of other industries in San Antonio. Of course we do. But this city, from Brooks, Kelly Air Force Base, the former Kelly Air Force Base, former Brooks Air Force Base, Randolph, Camp Bullis, Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland Air Force Base, all these facilities wrapped around us, and we're not doing anything out of the city to promote housing and home ownership in our community, employment for military spouses, right? Protecting and ensuring that this exposure to the men and women, right, from our armed forces, we want our children to see that. We want them involved in our schools, our educational system. All that is right there for the taking. When I was the council member of District 6, we would partner with Lackland Air Force Base to get recruits and trainees or whoever to help us do community service projects. We are sitting on a gold mine of volunteerism, strength, and community support from our military bases, and unless we use that, we're wasting it. And we don't talk it up enough, right, to be the hub number one for military transition, relocation, home ownership, you name it in San Antonio. We've got to get better as a city. And look, that's something we all need to push going forward in the future, is what it means to be Military City, USA. That selling a sergeant's car and the other 227 is not it at all. We have to hold people accountable on that. So let's get after that. What's on deck at City Hall? We got number 8. Another little segment here. What's on deck at City Hall? I want to make sure I bring up a couple of key points for this week. Let's see. Number 8, is it there?
What is it?
It's a document. Should be there's a highlighted section in it in there. I know what these things look like. We good? It's called What's on Deck. Numero 8. It just should be labeled number 8.
7. The 8 didn't come over here.
Man, it didn't save in there.
No.
Well, it's okay. It is a boring week at City Hall, and I'll tell you why. In between all these city council meetings right now, we are seeing a ton of meetings when it comes to budgets, right? So right now the city council's evaluating the current budget for 21, and it'll get voted on towards the end of the month. And as it gets voted on, a council member has to sit through multiple briefings to make sure they understand what each line item is and in general, high level function, what they're going to little tidbits that pop up. You got me back up there? Yeah. We lost the screen for a little bit. Did they get to still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. So we do get to see a few things that pop up. So on deck at City Hall this week, it's a document I send out weekly based on the up and coming items that I think are important, right? My little tidbits about what I see on the agenda. There's two things that are popping up. Number one is an aquifer redistribution discussion tomorrow, Wednesday. We're going to see a special session on SAPD use of force on Friday and aquifer redistribution on Thursday, at 1 o'clock p.m. So the aquifer redistribution discussion. So the mayor and the city council have put on the ballot 3 items. They're going to be on the ballot. Actually, they did 2 and VIA did 1. So VIA wants you to tax yourself 4 years from now in 2025 or whatever. So VIA is asking for an 1/8 of a cent sales tax to begin in 2025. The city of San Antonio, Mayor Ron Nirenberg and his team of merry tax spenders want to take more tax from you. They're creating new taxes, right? There are new taxes coming on the ballot here in November. These 2 propositions, Proposition A is the pre-K initiative, so you will be able to reauthorize pre-K for another 8 years. That's an 1/8 of a cent. Proposition B will be the mayor's workforce education training program. That is a new tax, right? Be very clear here. In the middle of a pandemic, we're going to tax citizens to pay for the mayor's $155 million workforce education program. And the cronies that are behind this are amazing, right? The long laundry list of the same old tired has-beens that have been running the city into the ground on taxes and other items for the last 40 years are going to try to come back again and tax you in November with a new tax for workforce education. It's going to pay for tuition. It's going to pay to fix people's cars. It's going to pay for childcare. It's going to give weekly stipends. This money, this $38 to $42 million a year of your tax dollars will help about 25 to 30,000 residents, 1.5 million people in the city. The program is going to help 25,000 people, of which 30% will not even finish the program, right? So we're going to lose $30 million to $45 million of this money to waste and people who will not finish the program. But the mayor wants to tax you with a new tax, right? Should we raise taxes during a pandemic? The mayor wants you to raise your taxes and vote on that with Proposition B. Workforce education. By the way, the program will not even start to fall of 21. So that's what I'm saying when I said earlier, we have to rebuild San Antonio now, right? When we can workforce education has its role and its place, absolutely. We can debate the finer points of it, like where does the money go, where does the investment go? I'd argue that we can invest in our small businesses and have them train the employees they need. Yes, we can reduce taxes, we can reduce hot tax. There are things we can do to spur job creation. But what the mayor wants to do, what Ron Nirenberg wants to do, is he wants to increase your taxes during a pandemic to pay for workforce education. Now they'll tell you, hold on, these aren't new taxes. No, we're not raising anybody's taxes. Folks, let me be incredibly clear right now so you understand how this works. If you vote down these propositions, propositions B and C, B is the workforce education plan, C is VIA. If you vote them down, you will get a tax decrease. Listen to me here. You want to cut your taxes, you vote down these 2 propositions, B and C by the city. It's a total of about $500 million over the next 8 years. They want to tax you in the middle of a pandemic. They want to increase your taxes because what they've done is they've removed the aquifer protection money. They've kicked that to the curb. They're probably going to have saws pay for it. They may use taxation or bond dollars to do it. They're going to figure that out on Thursday. They're going to get a briefing on how can we fund the aquifer because we kicked it off the ballot. You want to know the #1 approved investment infrastructure project that this city has ever seen? It's been aquifer protection money and linear creekways. It passes with like 75% approval rating. The mayor has said no more, kicked it off the ballot. And they're going to try to get SAWS or CPS Energy, somebody else to fund it. Bexar County, whoever. Anybody else can fund it. So he can fund his personal resume building project on workforce education. And then he can get VIA to get that money in 2025. $500 million in new taxes in the middle of a pandemic. So the question for you is, should we raise taxes during a pandemic?
And they use words to mix you up with words on the ballots, and right? They make it seem like it should be a yes.
The way they
but
phrase
it's
it.
a
Oh
no.
yeah, this is a clean no. You can, now I'm going to be very clear. Gabrielle brings up a good point. SAWS rates may go up. Folks in D9 and D10 don't want it. Gabrielle's right. Folks in District 9 and District 10 aren't going to want to pay for more taxes. Now, this is a tough piece because this is how this is going to get spun on you. People are going to say at City Hall, well, it's only an eighth of a cent. It's only $3 or $4 a week to you. What do you care? Like, come on, man, this is $40 million a year, and we're going to help these 25,000 people, and next year they could potentially get jobs if we train them right. Okay, that becomes a slippery slope when the city is struggling now, today, right? And Gabrielle brings up a great point. SAWS is already raising people's rates to the tune of 30 to 50% since last year. So your SAWS rates are already increasing. SAWS is not going to want to fund aquifer protection money. It should have never been kicked off the ballot in the first place. People, you want to know, there's not much in this city where somebody can go out and get 75% of the vote on anything. It's tough just to get 55%, let alone 75%. So the fact that the city funded that and got it approved at such high, massive numbers is telling. But the mayor kicked it off. Doesn't want it on the ballot, so it doesn't hurt his personal program and it doesn't hurt VIA. But you can't get away, folks, from the fact it's $500 million in new taxes. They can tell you, well, hold on a second, we're just reallocating. No, don't fall for their crap. I read a story in the paper the other day by Henry Cisneros, and he said no less than 4 times, these are no new taxes. That is an absolute lie. It's new because it is not being reauthorized. Let's be very clear. Pre-K is not a new tax. Pre-K is a reauthorization of an existing tax, and it will stay there, and the citizen can choose to vote on it as they please. But the other 2 programs, VIA and the mayor's workforce program, are new taxes. Because if you vote them down, they go away, you get a tax decrease. You want a tax cut in the worst economic time period this country has seen since, 2008? You want a tax cut? Vote no on those propositions. And I'm going to leave you with this question. Do you trust City Hall with more tax money? Should we raise taxes during a pandemic? Let's see if we got any questions out here or any responses. Water is precious and I pay $50 a month. In 1980 I was paying $30. They're not the smartest cookies in the cookie jar. No, we should not. No, no, no. Keep your hands off the aquifer. Man, Mateo right there. Keep your hands off the aquifer. He doesn't care about the Alamo or the aquifer. What else we got? No new taxes. No. SAWS deserves a rate hike. Okay. I don't know about that one. No more taxes. Yeah, well, there you go. Henry Cisneros, he's good at lying. Go ask Mary Alice. Ouch. Ouch. Politicians are politicians. They are what they are. So, look. Pay attention to what's happening, right? When I look at this, and it's on deck at City Hall, so on Thursday at 1 o'clock, you can live stream a video conference. You can watch it at home as they debate what they do with the Aquifer Protection Program. They're going to try it. I can guarantee you they're either going to ask SAWS to do it, or they're going to use bonds and taxation, future debt and bonds to pay for it. Where is all this money coming from in the middle of a pandemic? It's coming from your tax money. And then SAPD will also have a use of force discussion. The City Council were at the Public Safety Committee meeting on Friday. So the Public Safety Committee, pay attention to it. You'll see later in the week. These are really the only 2 big hot button issues of the week at City Hall. One, aquifer redistribution, and then we debate use of force at City Hall. So pay attention. That's what's on deck. You got those November ballots up there? Put the November ballots up. I know we're running out of time here, but I want to hit these couple of key points before we sign off with some memes. So, wow, man, you can't barely see that. Okay, so like I said, we're voting in November, right? November 3rd, early vote starts October 13th. We have got a massive slate of very interesting elections. Republican or Democrat, wherever you fall, You have got to get out and vote. This is page 1 of the ballot. I know you can't see it very much. Oh, there you go. Check that out. You've got some party affiliation. Don't forget, we are no longer doing straight ticket voting in Texas. You have to go line by line to choose the ballot. And then you can see it's huge. All the judges are there. You got national races, you got state races, contested races are going to come up front. And really, there's the state railroad commissioner, chief justice of the Supreme Court. You've got a ton of elections coming up. Depending upon where you live, you'll see different folks on your ballot, obviously. You got precinct 1 over there, Ruben Tejeda, and you can see on the right all the judges, those that are up for re-election, those that aren't. John Cornyn and MJ Hagar in a big fight for the state senator from the state of Texas. District 35 right there. Go to page 2. See what it looks like on page 2. And then you can see these ballot initiatives. There they are right there. So this is what the proposition ballot will look like. You can get this online at Bexar County Elections Office here soon enough. We'll share it on the BrockCast so you can download it, and we'll get it out in a weekly email. But these are the for or against. And you can look at that right up there at the top, right? So Proposition A is early childhood education at the top. Proposition B is what we just talked about. Ready to work San Antonio workforce program for reallocation of an existing sales tax. That is a deceptive lie. This is look at this. We're resulting in use of tax resulting in no net tax increase. That's an absolute lie. If you vote it down, you will have a tax break. If you vote Proposition B, if you vote it down, and Proposition A right there in Special Election Advanced Transportation District, if you vote it down, you will have a tax decrease, a tax break. These are new taxes. Look at how that's, be very specific how that is written. A reallocation of an existing sales and use tax resulting in no net tax increase. If that isn't a government bullshit line, I don't know what it is. But look, for the purpose of financing authorized programs related to job training and the awarding of scholarships of the San Antonio Early Child Education Municipal Development Corporation, an increase of 1/8, and there it is, an increase of 1/8% of one sales tax, not to extend beyond to 2026, which is when VIA will take it over, and commencing upon the full collection of sales tax use and the use previously by the voters for the Edwards Aquifer Parks and Parks Development Project. So it takes the money from the aquifer and puts it into the mayor's program. Can't get any more clear than that. But that is what you're going to be voting on when it comes to the propositions. And then up at the top, you have Advanced Transportation District Program. That's VIA. And you can see VIA right there. And you can understand pretty much that. It looks like a foreign language when you read it. But VIA wants 1/8 of a sales tax to commence in 2026 as well. And they take it over in perpetuity. Like the tax lasts forever. We don't even know what VIA is going to do in 2026 with the money. But they want you to vote in 2020 so they can get it. That makes absolutely no sense. VIA wants you to vote in November to tax yourself in 2026.
For something we don't know.
For something we don't know what they're going to do in 2026. Let that sink in for 1 minute. All right, just let that sink in. We are only authorized a certain amount of taxation by the state, and the city is maxed out. If you vote these propositions down, you will get a tax break. You will reduce your taxes on everything you buy in San Antonio. You go to Valero, tax break. You go buy some gas, tax break. You go to H-E-B, tax break. Your Violas Ventanas, tax break. Vote the proposition down, right? Get a tax break. Not new taxes in the middle of a pandemic. Let that sink in. We'll dig more into that later on as we start to put that information out there and what that looks like. So we're about to wrap up. There's a couple of things here. Do you have numbers 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 on there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just bring them up one by one and hit some hot shots with you so we can see some interesting tidbits of news that happened over the last couple of days. This is an interesting one right now. Bexar County DA agrees. This just came out a little bit ago. To review the 2014 case involving the fatal shooting of a black man by off-duty SAPD officer at Chacho's restaurant on the northeast side. So the activist groups and the family here of Marquise Jones has been petitioning the Bexar County District Attorney to reopen this case and to take a look at it. This just came out today that the DA has agreed to review it and relook at the case from 2014. This is going. We don't know what this looks like or how this is going to turn out, but we should follow it, keep our eyes open as to what's happening. The activist community, and I've said this on our show 100 times, you could be pro-police and you can support Black Lives Matter, right? And I think people in general feel that way, period. You believe in both causes. Obviously, I'm a big-time supporter of our law enforcement. That's never going to change. But I also believe that Black Lives Matter is a fair movement, right? And they're out there fighting and working hard for the things they believe. I would also tell you, we all know and believe that a lot of those issues have been hijacked, and what we see from BLM and Antifa and this crazy stuff happening across our country, the riots and the looting and all this other stuff, that's not what the Black Lives Matter movement's about. It's not about tearing down or destroying the city. There are elements of the movement that have hijacked the entire cause and turned that into what we see on the news. And the news and the media is complicit in driving home that narrative. But you can be pro-police and pro-Black Lives Matter, and that's the right place to be, in my opinion. You can disagree with me on it, but I believe it's the right place to be. But when we start going back on stuff like this, we have to watch and see what happens here. This was already reviewed and adjudicated by the previous district attorney's office, and no charges were brought. So when we start revisiting things, we don't know yet what this means. We have to just watch and see and determine, okay, these activist groups that are pushing for these items, what does that look like going forward for accountability and police officers? We just have to watch. Not forming an opinion right now. The family wants the case reopened. The DA's committed to reviewing it and let the justice system take its course. I have no problem with that, but we got to watch. We got to keep an eye on it. Next one. Nelson Wolf finally says the criminal justice system is systematically flawed. Hey, Nelson, you've been in charge of the Bexar County Sheriff's Office and part of that justice system for 30 years. If the system was systematically flawed, what were you doing while you were in charge for 40 years in the city?
And when did you notice this flaw?
You were a former mayor. You've been the judge for 12 years. You've been in charge of the Bexar County system. When did you just notice this flaw? Well, why haven't you done anything about it for the 40 years you've been in office? You just now say it on September 8th, 2020? You've been in office since 1980, 1976? What are you doing? What were you doing? Politicians complaining about the very problems they created on their watch is comical, to say the least. Can't complain about stuff that you were in charge of and you did nothing about while you were in charge. Might want to think about that one. Nelson Wolf, systematically flawed. That was absolutely ridiculous. Next.
This one hurts.
Dude, Luby's is shutting down. I just wanted to show this because I'm freaking sad and I'm going to go get me the Luann platter. No, I'm not doing the Luann platter. I'm going all out.
Okay.
We're going to go to Luby's and we're going to tear up that Luby's counter, man.
That peach cobbler from
The
there.
peach cobbler is awesome. Oh my God, oh my God. We got to do the breakfast buffet. Maybe we can inject so much money and love into the Luby's change that they don't quit. They don't liquidate and dissolve. Maybe we can buy so much over the next few months that we keep them going. Right? No, maybe not. I don't know. Stockholders must approve the liquidation plan. But I say we get behind Luby's and we go crazy for Luann platters over the next 2 or 3 weeks to keep them from shutting down. Because if Luby's is now, who's next? Better not be Fred's Fish Fry. I put that up on a post earlier like that. We don't want to lose our Texas icons to the COVID pandemic. Get out there and support Luby's. Get out there and buy. Next. Students in San Antonio are returning to schools. Yeah, we're back at it. School is back on. In-person learning. Obviously, we're going to watch and see what's happening. My son's going to St. Anthony's. He is involved in that school right now. We're watching. We're figuring out what's going on. Schools are prepared. He used to go to Wonky Elementary School. He's moved on in 6th grade. But look, he is there. He is getting after it, right? The school's protected. There's kids, spacing's going on, social distancing. People are masked up. Teachers are ready. Northside Independent School District has their reopening plan. Everybody is ready to go piece by piece. The schools have to reopen, and I think a lot of teachers are very concerned about that, and we have to acknowledge the role of the teacher in that program. We do have to acknowledge that, and their care and concern as well to make sure teachers are protected to the best of our ability. But children, right, in that mix, are suffering from being at home. We have to be very careful, right, by minding the statistics, watching what's happening. Schools have implementation and protection plans in place. Kids have to get back to school because the social, mental development things they are missing and losing being out is huge and detrimental to their growth, aptitude, and future. Kids have to get back to school. Let's pay attention to it. Let's get them back. Let's protect our teachers in the process, respect their needs and concerns, but let's get our kids back to school. But they're going back. They're going back. They started this week, and many will be kind of filing back in over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Prayers for our kids returning to school, but let's make it happen and let's take care of them. Next.
That's it.
All right.
You want to go memes?
Let's do some memes.
Speaking of,
Oh, my annual back to school meme.
classic.
Moms be like dropping my angel off at school. Now, I'm the husband of a teacher. That is a very true statement right there. That is, yes.
It is somebody's child.
So yeah, little Mijo gets dropped off at school, and he's an angel. My son's an angel. There's no way.
They didn't do anything wrong.
They didn't do anything wrong. He hit a rough patch. Didn't get a good night's sleep last night. That is by far the most classic meme of all time, because that is 100% true. You drop off your kid, you think your kid's an angel when you're dropping him off. And in reality, your child is Chucky.
He's the one
He's the one. If your kid is the one,
that other parents talk about.
that yeah. Your kid is Chucky. Look at that kid. All right. I love this one right here. Some people see this and go, "Oh man, they got that good ice." That's that. You know what that is? That's the high-end ice, man. That's the Sonic ice right there. Yeah, you can't get that. You get that at Sonic. Love it.
Bro, what's up with this one?
Let me be clear. This hairdo was a setup. Nancy Pelosi.
Bro, what's up with...
Nancy Pelosi, man. She really did a number on herself with that whole piece on getting her hair cut. And then she tried to blame, right, that it was a setup. Come on, Nancy. She blamed the salon owner who's getting death threats. Yeah. The salon owners have to shut down because Nancy needed a blow dry. Like literally. What's next? Nancy Pelosi. Oh my God, Nancy, you're killing me. Liberals reading Trump's tweets. Me reading Trump's tweets. That's absolutely true. That's a great scene in The Godfather, by the way. Hey, look, man, I read the other side's tweets too, you know?
Yeah.
I laugh at all of them, man. I laugh at all of people's posts. I don't care where you're at politically. I think it's hilarious. I laugh at all of them. Next. Don't forget the presidential race poll, North Carolina. Look at how close that thing is. Look at these nuts. That's legit. Next. This is the person calling you a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, that's America right there. America 2020, man.
That's good.
That's the person saying you are a conspiracy theorist and you have no clue what's happening in our city. Mm-hmm.
Golly.
I was going to show you something, but anyway.
What's next? No, this is legit. When you pull up to the cookout and they say, try the mac and cheese, what's your next move? I tell you my next move is I leave. I think my house has the alarm went off at my house. I've seen that before.
That's the Kraft.
That is yes, that's not even Kraft. That's like that cheese that's the knockoff brand. That's not Kraft cheese. When you see that at the barbecue, bro, hit the road. Move on.
Like some tuna salad or something.
It looks absolutely terrible, but that's legit. I've seen people do that. I just wanted to throw this out there for my son Luke. Mom with friends, mom at home.
Hey, Ray's got a correction. It's Godfather, it's not Godfather.
Goodfellas. I don't know why I said Godfather. Goodfellas.
Good call.
Good call, Ray. I just misspoke there. Let's see. I grab my keys, my dog. Where we going, bruh? That's absolutely true, man. When I pick up we got 3 dogs in the house. If somebody goes to the door, the dog has a backpack on, biscuits in the backpack, bowl of water in one paw, ready to go. We have anything else?
Yes, we do.
What else? What are we missing there?
Okay, there you go.
What can we kill it?
This is Navy SEAL or something. I don't know. I'm not in the military. I don't know why I started laughing at that one. I don't know why. I couldn't. Look at that SEAL's face. That's 2020 right there.
Give me a second. I'm getting... Okay. Hold on. There you go. This one? Perfect.
This was messed up. The professor's wife confronting him about his affair. The professor. Look at everyone else in the Zoom meeting. Oh my God, be careful who you call ugly in middle school. That's absolutely the truth right there. Be kind, kids, when you go back to school. Be kind.
Changes.
Stuff changes. Gravity falls. And this is our next logical step. This is where we're going.
Okay.
Lysol, the COSA, the city of San Antonio. It's the only way to save us all. I prefer, of course, Fabuloso. That should be Fabuloso, purple juice spraying all out over the city of San Antonio. Fabuloso, my friends. Fabuloso, the city for our safety's sake. Is that it?
Yeah.
Hey, we got one more
Can you read this one?
Cuando vas a
Hold on.
consulta y la doctora... am I saying something that's not right, bro? Bro, am I saying something... Translate.
Read it.
Translate.
When you go to the doctor and the doctor gets after you for being overweight. Oh, okay. Tyler's sending me a comment. Hold on.
Tyler's sending us a comment. Hold on.
Yeah, hold on.
We're wrapping up here. The show's on the edge.
Yeah. Hold on. Where is it, Tyler? Did it send, Tyler?
We're almost done here, folks.
Oh, where is it, Tyler? Oh, that's coming.
Hey, I'll just tell it. Hey, Hernando said, I like this show. It's informative and fun to watch. You're a good host.
Hernando, thank you. We appreciate you. All right. Get that poor lady off the screen, man. She's a frontline worker.
She's essential.
She's essential. How dare you, Saulo? The show's over now. The show is over. Are you going to put it up right now?
What the? No.
No. Yeah, no. Be careful, man. I had to fire the last meme guy
Yeah.
because he got a little reckless with the memes. All right, that's the show. Look, we moved to Tuesday night, so people got to know. So you got to like it, share. We're going to start doing some advertising, trying to push this out a little further. The merch is a go. Check that out. The merch is a go. The BrockCast hats are live. If you liked and shared it tonight, right? If you did that, you may be able to get a branded Bill Brockhouse cap. BrockCast, look at that. You got the leather patch right there. We love you, appreciate you. We'll have the merch available anyways because it's super cool. We want to advertise and get it out there. Look, all of this is simply about information. You can disagree with me all day long. I've broad shoulders about that. No ego about getting told I'm full of it. I'm crazy, I'm smart, you got it, Brockhouse, you hit the nail on the head, you're insane, whatever you want to say. Doesn't bother me at all because I enjoy the debate and the conversation, and frankly, it matters. I mean, I think it does, and we may see the path differently to the end game, right? But at the end game, usually is for all of us, we got the best possible San Antonio, people employed, people get to worship in their faith and have that safety of belief in that. People can walk around our streets, not feel threatened or maltreatment anywhere in our community. We strive for those things, right? Our babies are protected, right? The unborn are protected. All these things are right down the line what we want for our city, right? We want the LGBT community protected. We want people of color protected. We want all these things, you name it. We all want the same goals. And if you sit there as a citizen and you get in this debate or fight and you say that I don't want those things, you're absolutely wrong. If you accuse your brother or sister, and I use the word brother or sister specifically because we're San Antonians, if you accuse your brother or sister San Antonian of hatred and all these other things and this disgusting stuff that you believe just because they disagree with you, then you're shortchanging yourself, you're exposing yourself for your real belief pattern, and you're not doing our community any justice for possible change. You may not get everything you want in the process, but at least your voice is out there and you're doing it in a fair and respectful way, and you can accept all of it as part of the debate, man, part of what's happening in our community. We have to respect the opportunity to disagree and to do a little bit better. And when we agree to spend our dollars and taxes wisely, put them in the right spots, and in a COVID-19 pandemic environment, we have to work hard to rebuild San Antonio now. We can't do it a year from now. We can't put these plans in place that are going to build this city. It's this massive plan for the city you deserve in 2022. That does nothing for us. It's as simple as looking at the transportation plan and realizing we're not going to do anything for VIA until 2026. Why are we not having the courage to do the vote now? Why are we not having courage to put our ideas on the line now and say, this is what I believe? Let's put the vote on it and see where it stands. Let the citizens decide. And amen, win some, lose some. I've won some and I've lost some, and I'm okay with that. But I invite all the debate. We should all do that. So let's get after information, sharing ideas, understanding disagreement. We all want that same end game, which is a better San Antonio. Our paths to get there are just they're different for everybody, man. Everybody's path. My wife and I, we've been together 14 years. Our paths are different on nearly everything. We both have the same end goal, the best possible family, kids that are great, that have a great life, they're healthy, they believe in God, they're doing the best they can every day, right? They're faith-based. We have that belief, but how my wife and I get there is completely different. We're own individuals, man. We believe what we want. It's the same for our city. So we have to encourage the debate, bring out the conflict, handle it appropriately, get the information out, vote on it, and then let the chips fall where they may, and then we decide. Don't forget, we've got the merchandise. I also want to put this out there at the end of the show. We can get these for you too. Back SA Blue right here from the San Antonio Police Officers Association. I can never get it right on how to hold this.
Right in front of you.
Yeah, put it in front of you right there. Back SA Blue. You want a sign like this? Let us know. Put it in the comments. Message us. This house backs the blue. BackSABlue.com. You can go on this website right here as well, and you can order one, a sign. The San Antonio Police Officers Association. I think it matters more than ever to make sure that we are supporting our police officers and first responders. You can be pro-police and pro-Black Lives Matter, pro-accountability, and change, right, for the better. We can have those conversations and discussions, but we must always support our police officers 100% of the time. We got to get behind them, take care of them, do what's right and best so that they understand that when they walk that line, we're with them, right? But we also need to be with every citizen of this city to make sure that the job is held accountable and people do the best they can. We want the best people at the right people in the right role at the right time protecting our city. So that's it. We appreciate it. We'll be back next Tuesday. We need you to like it, share it, let people know. We're going to be advertising. The broadcast will be coming to you Tuesdays at 6:30 from Align Mortgage of Texas. We're thankful to Chris Conn on the team. We appreciate you. And as always, the last piece of words and wisdom, the broadcast wants you involved. We look forward to seeing you next week. The broadcast is officially out.